World War II on the Eastern Front is largely defined by the frozen hell of Stalingrad and the brutal tank battles of Kursk, but Hitler's strategic imagination often strayed into the truly absurd. His sights were set not only on Soviet oil fields, but also on a goal that defied geography: controlling the Black Sea. The Black Sea was the Soviet lifeline, a deep, temperate body of water that allowed the Soviet Navy to move men and supplies freely, even when the Baltic was iced over. To truly cripple the Soviet war machine, Hitler believed he had to neutralize this massive naval highway. Hitler did not want to sink the Soviet fleet. He wanted to freeze the Black Sea. This was the bizarre, desperate scientific plot codenamed Operation Northern Light, a multi-million Reichmark project built on flawed science, political hubris, and an absolute denial of reality. This is the story of the technological fantasy that nearly bankrupted the Nazi science program. The idea was championed by a notorious German physicist and engineer whose promises of Wunderwaffen, wonder weapons, had gained Hitler's unwavering attention. The core concept was a giant airborne weapon that would spray a finely dispersed chemical agent, a supercooling agent, over the vast surface of the Black Sea. The theory was that by introducing this chemical, the water's surface tension would be radically altered, allowing a chain reaction that would crystallize the top layer. Imagine freezing 1,000,000 square miles of water from the air. The chemical solution was complex and required massive industrial production. The reality was that the massive scale of the Black Sea, its depth and its thermal dynamics, made the entire concept impossible. The amount of chemical required was greater than all of Germany's industrial output. Yet, fueled by Hitler's absolute faith in German engineering supremacy, the project was granted top priority and near unlimited resources. Scientists and engineers were diverted from practical projects, like jet engine development, to pursue this fantastical dream. The primary challenge was not just the chemical agent, but the delivery system. They needed a massive, custom-built aircraft capable of carrying tons of the coolant agent at high altitude and dispersing it efficiently. Prototypes were secretly developed, often running into catastrophic technical failures. The project became a colossal drain on resources, contributing directly to the lack of funding for crucial defensive technologies. Meanwhile, Soviet intelligence was keenly aware of the massive resource commitment to a highly secretive project in the German Reich. Though the Soviets initially dismissed the idea of a sea freezer as ridiculous, the sheer volume of material being diverted was a major indicator of its political importance to Hitler. Soviet spies focused on locating the specialized chemical production facilities. They correctly realized that if the project was absorbing this much material, it was strategically weakening the German ability to produce conventional war supplies. The Soviet counterintelligence's goal was not to stop the freezing, but to encourage the spending and expose the absurdity of WWII's as scientific judgment to his own generals. As the war turned increasingly against Germany, the absurdity of Operation Northern Light became a key point of internal political conflict. Men like Albert Speer, the Minister of Armaments, argued that the resources were vital for tank production and air defense. The physicist championing the Black Sea freeze survived multiple attempts by military leaders to shut him down, simply because he had Hitler's direct ear and absolute faith. The project finally collapsed in late 1944, not due to scientific failure, but due to logistical impossibility. The specialized chemical plants were destroyed by Allied strategic bombing. The prototype delivery aircraft crashed during testing. The scientists, facing the reality of the war, finally admitted that the Black Sea was simply too big, too warm, and too deep for their technology. The project had absorbed critical resources for 3 years, delivering nothing but massive waste. Operation Northern Light is the perfect example of how the Nazi regime combination of technological hubris and political delusion undermined its own war effort. The fixation on fantastical Wunderwaffen, whether it was the V2 or the Sea Freezer, diverted genius away from practical defense and air superiority. For the Soviet intelligence community, the project was a resounding, silent victory. By allowing the Nazis to waste resources on the impossible, they effectively sabotaged the German war machine from within. The scientist responsible for the project survived the war and was quickly swept into the post-war intelligence race, his engineering knowledge deemed too valuable to waste. He continued to propose other impossible, massive engineering feats, demonstrating the lasting power of unchecked ambition. The tale of Hitler's ice dream is a chilling reminder that in total war, the most dangerous enemy is sometimes not the opposing army, but the delusion within one's own command. The Black Sea was never frozen, but the immense cost of trying to freeze it contributed directly to the ultimate collapse of the Third Reich. If you want to uncover more high-stakes stories of technological failure, political obsession, and the bizarre plots of World War II from the Pacific and Europe, hit that subscribe button.